So while you guys are waiting for my two big projects or two big PC building related projects that I've been hinting about on my community post for me to finish them, I thought I'd make a new video or a sort of side video on a PC that I wanted to make a video on for quite a long time now. Now, I'll explain why this is only a part 1 and when a part 2 will come out and so on. So without wasting any more time, let's get started. So, you might remember that random old PC from the PCs that I showed in the last few videos, where I basically did a room tour, and then another video where I showed you guys the 3 main PCs that I had finished, and one of them was a random, extremely old Pentium 4 PC. And I did say I was gonna make a video on it, and this video is in the making for like probably weeks to months, and I'll explain to you guys why that's the case. But first, let's get into the story as to how I even got to this point in the first place. So a little bit of backstory time right here. One day while I was coming back from school, I saw one of my friends randomly carrying this huge white PC. It was this huge, white, bulky old PC. And I asked what he was doing, and he basically said that the professor gave it to him just randomly because he didn't need it, and he accepted the professor's proposal and he took the PC with him. And so I helped him because genuinely this PC is so big, bulky and heavy that I genuinely needed to help him. So I helped him carry the PC to the school dormitory. We checked it out there and I asked him for who it was. He said it was for a friend. And so I quickly forgot about the PC and thought he gave it away to a friend. And then one day, the same friend randomly came into my room and just gave me the PC. He literally gave me the PC and said that I can just do whatever I want with it and that it's mine now. So at this point, on one hand, I was quite excited, but on the other hand, I was like, how am I even supposed to transport this PC back home? And so basically, somehow, just barely, I don't even know myself how I did this, but just barely I managed to fit it inside of my big traveling case, and then I took it with me back home. Now, before I took it with me, I gave it a thorough look down, I took it apart, I saw what kind of parts it had, and the parts were sitting there for literal weeks because I was genuinely planning out to see what I was going to do with this, if I was going to give it away to someone else, or if I was going to make a video on it, or what. I had no idea. So the parts were just lying there, all cleaned up. I had no idea what I was going to do with this PC. And so when I decided what I was going to do with this PC, which I mean, you guys probably now know since you're watching this video right now, then I cleaned up all the parts once again since they were sitting there and they had collected quite a bit of dust. And then I cleaned up one of the worst parts of this whole PC, which I still hadn't cleaned up for one good reason, and that was the PC case. Oh my goodness. This PC case was probably one of, if not the dirtiest PC cases I have ever seen in my entire life. The gooch on this PC, all the black stuff and all the dust on this PC was absolutely insane. Like, the case genuinely had corners which were absolutely stuffed with just black material and goo and dust. And I genuinely spent around an hour or two just cleaning up this PC so that it would actually look nice and clean. And after probably around 2 to 3 hours of cleaning out all the components thoroughly, putting some fresh thermal paste, and putting everything back together, mind you, the cooler was absolute hell to put back together. I literally needed like around half an hour to like 45 minutes just to put it back together correctly. But after that, finally the PC was fully cleaned up, fully put back together, repasted, and ready to go. I took it back home, and what did I do? Well, it sat there for several more weeks. I genuinely had absolutely no idea what I was gonna do with this PC. And so one day, one of my uncles texted me saying that he had this really old PC that he didn't need anymore and that he could give it to me if I wanted to. And he didn't really specify anything because he had no idea, of course. I mean, he didn't really have any idea and he doesn't know anything about PC components and whatnot, so he only told me that it was an old PC. And when he told me it was an old PC, I thought it was probably some kind of old Intel Core PC, or at least I hoped it was something like that. But when I got the PC, It was this giant, old, rusty, genuinely rusty, filled with gooch and dust. And it was one of those old AMD Athlon PCs, which was a huge surprise to me. And I'm actually planning to make a video on the AMD Athlon platform at some point. So yeah, stay tuned for that video as well. But anyhow, I managed to salvage almost all the parts instead of the case, of course, because the case was literally ruined and filled with rust and gooch and whatnot. And I did not want to spend another 2 hours cleaning another case that I probably wouldn't even have any uses for. So I just decided to put the case inside of the storage area that we have for our apartment, and it's sitting there even up until now, and it will probably be sitting there until the far future when I actually can clean it or find a way to clean off the rust and, you know, do something with the case actually. But up until then, it's just gonna sit there in the storage area, and yeah, I'm not touching it. But anyhow, from the parts that I did manage to salvage, I actually managed to salvage quite a lot of good parts. I managed to salvage some really good, high quality DDR2 RAM with actual heatsinks on them, which was so good and so cool. And the first thought that came to my mind was, of course, put the two best DDR2 RAM sticks that I have inside of the PC that I had left sitting there for weeks upon weeks. And so I did just that. I put the two RAM sticks inside of the PC along with some other Wi-Fi and USB adapters and spreaders and whatnot that I could find or salvage from that PC. And one of the highlights of this PC, at least in my opinion, and that is the GPU. That's right, I managed to find a whole AGP GPU inside of his PC. And I just decided to clean all the parts thoroughly, slap them inside of that PC, you know, give it a nice upgrade. And now, as of currently, it's rocking an Intel Pentium 4 CPU with 2 gigs of DDR2 RAM and some USB and Wi-Fi adapters. It's got some sort of weird Intel OEM motherboard by the looks of it, and it's also got some sort of weird no-name power supply as well. The case, I also could not identify the brand as well. If you guys do know the exact brand of the case and the power supply and whatnot, then if you want to, you can freely type it down in the comments below. But anyhow, after I had set up this entire PC, I thought, you know what? Since I've already upgraded this PC, since I've already done all this work and effort on it, why don't I just make a video on it? Why don't I just finally test it? And so I finally, after probably what seemed to be weeks or even months of that PC just sitting there and doing nothing, I actually got the courage and the motivation to do the first boot test on this PC, which was a success. I was absolutely surprised. The boot test was a complete success on this PC, and the first boot test was completely alright. Everything seemed to be working just fine. You know, everything seemed to be in order. Nothing seemed to be broken or anything similar. And so after a quick short boot test, I left the PC and I abandoned it once again. Yeah, I just left it there sitting for like around a few more weeks again. And after that, I finally decided once and for all, I'm going to go and finish this PC no matter what. So I took the PC, I booted it up, and the first thing I decided to do was, I thought, you know what, I don't have an IDE disk, so I'm probably just gonna go and mess around with the BIOS, see if everything works just fine, because the first test was really only just an extremely short boot test. So I decided to see if everything else worked, and so probably one of, if not the scariest parts of this video, and probably one of the main reasons as to why you probably clicked on this video, and that is the PC literally exploded on me. Yeah, the PC literally exploded on me. I have zero proof of this happening because it happened in such a moment, and it happened so fast, and I wasn't even recording, and I wasn't even ready to record at that time, and it just happened so fast, and I was genuinely so scared. I was shook into my core. Basically what happened was, literally, I had not changed or added literally anything else. All I literally did was turn on the PC, and literally a second or two after booting in and, you know, checking in, you know, doing its post-checking and whatnot, such a ginormously loud bang was heard from the PC that I genuinely jumped from the place I was standing at, and such a huge light just got emitted from the PC, all of a sudden, the PC for a second genuinely looked like a nuclear bomb. It genuinely looked like some kind of mini supernova. It was literally insane. And everything happened so fast, it all happened in just a split second. It was absolutely insane. And of course, after this happened, I was shook into my core because I thought that, this PC was dangerous and might, cause a fire or something like that, or something even worse, And also, I was standing literally right next to it. Like, my feet were literally right next to the spot where it exploded, so it could have injured me as well. And I was literally shook into my core, but in the end, I mustered up the courage, I disconnected the PC, I checked everything, and here's the weirdest part. I literally checked every single bit of this PC. There were absolutely zero marks anywhere. No burn marks, no signs of damage, absolutely nothing. And I have absolutely no idea, even as of now, as of me recording this video, what the heck even happened, but it just all happened in such a short amount of time, and there's such little evidence and literally no damage or marks whatsoever. I had absolutely zero clue, and still have absolutely zero clue as to what this could be or why this could have happened. But anyhow, yeah, so this was part 1 of this video. We managed to completely set up this PC, put it together, make a boot test. It almost injured me. We had quite the supernova experience. And it somehow magically resurrected itself. But anyhow, yeah, this was a heck of a journey. And this is only part 1 of probably what's going to be a 2 or 3-parter series for this PC. So I hope you guys stay tuned for the future parts of this PC/series on this PC that I'm going to be working on, or this project, or whatever you want to call it. And I will be updating on the community post. And so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.